This next letter is to Ohip. Now this letter is an odd letter. It's to Ohip, oddly enough, and to Mr. George Clark, who is the head of Ohip. And what this letter really is about, or this video is about, and there will be an accompanying letter as usual, is about just an example of what this government does to block access to health care from multiple levels. And this will be an example of PET scanning, and it's really about the way that PET scanning is reimbursed. You'll remember that elsewhere on my website I've made the point that the government works by bullying, but more importantly what they do is use things like Bill 8, which makes it illegal to run deficits for at least hospitals, and then deliberately underfunds them. So this letter is to Mr. George Clark. Mr. Clark, you and I have met once before at a meeting, and I had some challenging statements to say to you. Again, I'm going to continue with that. You are the senior bureaucrat in charge of Ohip, and therefore in charge of a rather large budget. So what I want you to demonstrate to the people of the province is just how you've come to the conclusions about the way you have funded PET in this province. Right now the Ohip billing for the technical fee is somewhere around $980 or $990. Now the fee for the radio trace, the radioactive glucose, is about $400. Now anybody with maybe a grade 6 math level or above can figure out that that just is not simply possible to supply that service, is it, Mr. Clark, on that fee? These are very expensive cameras, may cost $1.5 million or $2 million. There's staff to be paid for. There's very expensive service contracts and so on and so forth. So it's obviously virtually impossible to do that. Very much in keeping with how the government intends to supply health care by insisting health care be provided but refusing to actually pay for it. So Mr. Clark, what I'm asking you to do in this video is I want you to prepare a business plan. I mean, you're in charge of a big department there and you understand finance. So I want you to prepare a business plan showing how the Ministry of Health arrived at these figures of how you're going to reimburse PET scanning in this province, and demonstrate how this is a reasonable fee and that anybody should be able to make a PET camera not only be able to provide quality service, but of course look after the maintenance costs and so on with this figure that you've supplied of whatever, just under $1,000. Now there are other aspects too that I'm going to go on in other videos with you related to Ohip's involvement with PET scanning, but this one in particular is just yet another glaring example of the way that this government supplies healthcare. Ohip is simply a mouthpiece to do this for the government, and so it's time that Ohip stood up and defended it's how it came to this figure, which clearly obviously it makes it absolutely impossible and ensures that hospitals and private clinics have to provide supposed quality PET scanning at a loss. So Mr. Clark, please do that, and those watching the video again, I want you to pressure Mr. Clark to put that business plan forward, come up with the reasons and the numbers how they decided at this figure, which is now carved in stone in Ohip, which deliberately forces clinics and hospitals to provide services at a loss. Thanks.